can't find me. You may never wanna find me again. 'Cause people don't understand. People don't understand. People like me.
Now we got people in the chat singing our theme song, so it's getting properly stuck in the minds of many, many people, which I truly appreciate. How you guys doing here? Apparently, I have one person showing their face, another person hiding their face, another person who's not even on camera at the moment. So this is a great start to episode 36 of the Barroom Podcast. Let's go ahead and introduce our new rating. Our new rating number one as far as was it attendance here in the Barroom Podcast, because Mr. Rob Motto is not here tonight. He is under the weather, so that means that you have retaken your title as number one podcaster on the show. How you doing today, Cassie?
Chilling, man. Hope Rob is getting well. I know how that feeling is. It's the worst when you're getting sick. The last time I was sick, I had the COVIDs, and I spent 2 days straight watching Looney Tunes, and it was amazing. So
yeah,
that's how I like to rock out being sick.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, that's one way to do it. Get loony.
Exactly, man. Exactly. We're in the Looney Tune world. It has become modern day as we know it, and I just find that the OG Looney Tunes is more entertaining, more funnier than the Looney Tunes that we see on Twitter all the time. So, but I'm good. Everything's cool. Happy to be here as always.
And joining us, what I can only assume is his pantry, is Mr. Orange Hat Reviews. How you doing today, Orange?
Not my pantry. This is actually a dining room. But I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Ugh. Doing pretty well. Then, of course, somewhere petting her evil cat on the other side of the country.
Yes, he's planning world domination. Mm-hmm.
You should see those talking cat videos.
As I realize Ziggy is growing, I still realize that your cat is so much bigger than Ziggy. Yes, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a very
fat cat.
My previous cat was way bigger. He was like 15, 20 pounds, but he wasn't fat. He was just a big key. But I was actually entertained on Twitter last night when everyone was going in on this localizer that decided to put Giga Chad in an anime localization. And they decided to call themselves a storyteller instead of a translator. So like the anime community does, they went in on them and it was beautiful. So that was very entertaining. But I
heard a story earlier today that in Japan that apparently they're starting to have like ghost buildings and ghost cities now due to their rapidly plummeting population. So it's like, oh, there's a nice window into American life in about 15 years. So get ready for that one, folks. But hey, at least rent will go down. So there's that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
see what happens there.
I've learned something about the anime industry yesterday and how they're weaponizing COVID. Prepare for all your anime to be delayed.
Let's go ahead and introduce everyone in the chat tonight. Our good buddy Duke, who I refuse to call Nuke, is here. He's saying, who's the lady in our thumbnail? That's the new Supergirl, who we'll talk about later on in the show. Neo's joining us once again tonight for the show. We have Alex versus Evil in the chat with us tonight. We got Doba Fett, who is here. We got Drax the Crown hanging out with us once again tonight. This person is not very important. We have Zero Dozer, who is also here, saying hello to all the guys and girls on the show tonight, and just general, hey, how you guys doing all around. Johnson and Rick will be here a little bit later as far as the show goes, but I want to go ahead and start this one off hot because this is something that I guess happened either today or yesterday, somewhere in the last 24 hours. But Steve Blum, who you guys may know as a prolific voice actor, he's done so many voices I can't even count, but I think his most famous ones is Spike from Cowboy Bebop, the OG series. He's done numerous voices for shows like Digimon and other animes and cartoons you guys may have watched over the last few years. Well, he's a big giant Wookiee, and this isn't much of a surprise to me. I found this out years ago. Just like a lot of people got broken by Mr. Donald Trump, who just completely broke his brain. And now he's saying that anyone who considers themselves to be anti-woke is dangerous and divisive. Now, this is in response to a story that Bounding actually did regarding the No. It was actually a response to the Twitter account. What was it? In Wokeness, who profiled the whole Proud Family doing the slaves built this country bit. That spoken word nonsense. And Steve Blum decided to have a not so friendly take to the reaction to that. So this was covered by Bounding earlier today by our good buddy Spencer. Steve Blum, like I said, says anything anti-woke is divisive and dangerous. Like I said, this guy has been doing this for like the last few years. It's not really a surprise to me or anyone else. But if you remember, a couple weeks ago, we talked about here on the show about how the Proud Family has just gone all in on these racially divisive topics, not just on the whole slaves built this country nonsense, essentially saying that they were saying things in a kid show, keep in mind. They were saying things that America still hasn't atoned for the sins of slavery, despite, the civil rights movement, the Civil War, and a multitude of other things that we've tried to atone for those sins. They were saying things like, interracial marriage is bad, especially if you're a black guy who only dates white women, because that's bad to black women and stuff like that. Then they push the whole thing of white fragility, which means that, if you're a white person, you object being called racist. That means you have white fragility because you just won't accept the fact that you are racist. And that's all another thing that they were pushing on the show. So there's a whole lot of just progressive, very extremely divisive, and very, let's just outright say it, racist things that they were pushing on the show. But no, Steve Blum is here to tell you that if you object to any of these things, you're the problem, not them. So we'll go down to a tweet that he wrote here. This was, I have the first part of this. So let me see. I have his first tweet here. Yeah, so he responded to the clip by the In Wokeness account. In Wokeness said, "This is the scene from the Disney Plus kids cartoon. The Proud Family is blatant anti-white propaganda." And Blum responds to this by saying that, "I'm white, and as a voice actor who will probably never work on the show for the most excellent of reasons, your tweet is blatantly racist. Your anti-woke rhetoric is dangerous and divisive. I thoroughly support Disney Plus, the Proud Family, and all of my colleagues for doing this." So obviously this guy is all in 100% on the divisive agenda here. And then I think he even got into it with Bounding in the Comics earlier today, if I'm not mistaken. Let me try to see if I can pop up that tweet, because I think it was either John or Spencer I replied to him earlier. But yeah, so it was basically a reply to the article itself, and our good buddy Ice Wolf had mentioned him, and then he responded by saying this. Let me get his exact reaction to this story, because he even was brought up on Bounding. There's so many anti-Trump nonsense that I'm listening to here. I'm trying to get to the actual meet him tell. Did he delete it?
Oh, but I do want to say this too. Someone there was a video that pointed this out. That
here it is. Okay.
There's a lot.
I thought he deleted it there for a second.
Well, there's a lot of woke activist books in the Proud Family. That there's the Ta-Nehisi Coates books up in there. There's so many.
Oh yeah, they've been doing this for quite some time, especially in kids shows. So this was I thought he deleted it at first, which is why I couldn't find it. But it says here there was a reply that says, "How can a guy who voiced so many of my favorites be so cucked? My life is a lie." And he responded to that one, which included Bounding in the Comics, by saying, teaching actual history is so racist and is not repeated. It is not repeated as cucked. So you support the ignorance and hate fueled by book banning. What's the MAGA buzzword for that? So he somehow makes this about Trump, even though Trump had absolutely nothing to do with this entire thing. I think you see the Bounding response here was, "Does anyone know what the hell this actually means?" And then I just politely responded to him, "We have taught history in this country for many decades without an issue until people like you decided that it wasn't anti-American and anti-white enough." So that was my reply to his little comment there. But Steve Blum is obviously a left-wing loony idiot. He may not be as bad as Adam Sessler, because I haven't seen him wish anyone to die yet, but he's kind of up there as far as just absolute insanity goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this off with you, Cassie, because you are the Cowboy Bebop mark, just like myself. So what do you how do you feel about meeting your hero to find out that he's just a complete bum?
I mean, I will say that his Twitter profile picture is very accurate. He's had that picture since I was a teenager, I believe, on fucking Twitter, of him being a screaming banshee. So that's pretty accurate. He's definitely a screaming libtard banshee on Twitter. So I think that he should definitely keep that Twitter profile picture forever, because it's very representative of how he is as a person. But yeah, I discovered a while ago that he's definitely kind of a little loony, as I would like to say, when it comes to the whole political nonsense that he believes so strongly in. What separates him, I believe, from Adam Sessler is that Blum can articulate his insanity a little better than Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
I mean, he wholeheartedly believes in the nonsense that is his deranged thought of what he thinks is reality. He definitely, it's one of those things where it's just I've been ignoring him because it's like I'm not gonna stop watching Cowboy Bebop, but at the same time, I don't want to give you any of my attention or time. I just know he's a lunatic, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird watching like white people like cuck hard for like things that they know nothing about.
Yeah.
Like clearly you don't, and I just feel like it just comes off kind of gross. It's like you don't know what it's like to be black, but yet you're so invested in this shit. Like,
Yeah.
I just find it kind of weird.
He
I
has
don't
to
know
prove
what
how
kind of term-
anti-racist he is by denouncing himself 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Toonami's been all in on the same shit. You guys know that he plays the Toonami character Tom.
Yeah.
And they've had like these spiels about social justice on Toonami of all things, which is like pretty insane. I stopped watching
Yeah,
long
like,
before I
that's
heard
right.
that, but yeah, exactly. It's just more people that are involved in the entertainment space that just want to use their talent, because Steve Blum is no doubt a very very talented man on the voice acting front. But like they just want to push their politics, and it's just like you have to choose either one. If you want to be a fucking deranged advocate of something, like get out of entertainment and go do that. Do not try and push your political ideology into the entertainment space. We don't want this anymore. And you continue to do this, I mean, I honestly hope that it ends with you not really having much of a job anymore, because they've taken the fun out of entertainment as much as they possibly can. And at this point, I don't care if what I'm saying makes you feel as though, you're not paying attention to the problems at hand in society. I don't go to entertainment for that shit. I don't give a fuck about the problems of the world when I'm trying to watch Cowboy Bebop or fucking anime or X-Men or whatever the fuck Steve Blum is involved in. I like for that. Look, there's nothing I could do. If the world fucking burns, then let it fucking burn. I'm gonna watch my anime the way the fuck I want to. And if you have a problem with that, then suck a dick and get lost. It's really that simple. I'm tired of them trying to push their ideology when I'm just trying to enjoy my life. Because all they do when they're out of character is make my fucking life miserable with their fucking constant banshee screaming and whining about stuff. I'm just sick of it. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to care. I don't care anymore.
I'm sorry for everyone who had to listen to Cassie's white fragility speech there, but she can't handle real history being shoved down her cartoon shows. But Nerdigans, obviously, Steve Blum from a lot of things that you've probably watched when you were growing up. So what does this whole situation make you feel?
Well, if you look further down the thread, he actually says that genderqueer is porn, if that counts for anything, and it shouldn't be at school. So he's not completely insane.
Funny enough, he when he responded to that, I don't think he had any idea that was actually, because he was going on about, you Republicans are banning books and burning books. It's like, yeah, that was the book that they were trying to ban in the first place. The one you call that's just porn. That's not the one people were talking about. So clearly, he's not as informed as he thinks that he is, because he's trying to make it seem like people are just like unfairly banning books, and then he admitted to be like, this is totally inappropriate for kids.
So there is that. He hasn't responded to, and I'm surprised I didn't get banned or blocked by him. So I think, and I had to deal with the notorious CBR writer yesterday in regards to the localization stuff, and something that I've realized, and you have to approach woke people like Steve Blum like this. You got to if you come at him like aggressively, they're just going to be complete assholes. But if you come at them like you want to have like an actual conversation, they will have a conversation with you. And I think that's what that person did. If I recall this tweet correctly. Well, somewhat. But they brought evidence with them, and that's how you have to handle shit with people like Steve Blum. You have to come with the evidence to back up your claim. Otherwise, yeah, they're going to just keep on talking.
Hissy fit.
Yeah, they're just going to keep on having hissy fits. And unfortunately, people have lost the art of debate, sadly. But in regards to this whole thing with the Proud Family, I mean, there's older episodes of the Proud Family. There's Static Shock. There's plenty of episodes that teach kids about equality and integration. Hell, even the movie Hairspray does a better / musical Hairspray does a better job of it than what this episode did. This episode wants to encourage, and the new season of Proud Families, or I should say the reboot of Proud Family, wants to encourage division. And I don't understand why people are not seeing that. Are they just that blinded by their politics and their Kool-Aid by this? It's just the weirdest thing to me. But
well, like I said, I think over the last few years, they've made the decision that Trump and Republicans are the enemy. They are evil, so that everything that they oppose must be good. Therefore, I must die on the hill for it. Then, like I said, even when they unironically realize that they're on the same side of the thing that they're actually fighting against, they still won't come to the realization of, hey, maybe I got this one wrong. It's like, nope, double down and triple down. Orange Chat, what is your thoughts on Steve Blum's stupid comments?
Well, the way that all these people are so triggered by Trump and whatnot, and all their stupidity started spawning ever since he announced he was running for president. I'm not really shocked by any actor coming forward as a flaming SJW or supporting very dangerous societal destructive means. But him specifically saying that anti-woke is divisive and dangerous, it's kind of what's the word I'm thinking of? It's kind of oxymoronic because it's like, you guys are literally practicing segregational practices. And if Steve Blum is the kind of person that is saying that white people don't know how black people lived and they want to try pushing all the stereotypes and whatnot, well, I've had that argument and I've beaten the shit out of everybody who tried bringing it against me as well, because my life journey lived most of what people call the black stereotypes, and they don't like it when somebody like me, a white person, can bring that against them. But him coming out with this shit, it's just more insanity. And honestly, I just wish that if Trump gets elected in 2024, he'll start saying that oxygen is a great thing, so these idiots will stop wanting to breathe it.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe convince them that they should go to the Ohio site with all the chemicals and say, like, oh, no, it's a great place to live. We're going to stay here for 20 years and develop deadly cancer. That should be a good thing for them. I mean, I don't know. Look, I've said this many times before with guys like him. I'm just at the point where it's like I'm done trying to reason with these people. The guy's clearly not as informed in these issues as he thinks that he is. He just wants to sound like he's on the right side of history by making all these statements. Be like, oh no, I completely support what they're pushing on this kid's show because I'm an ally to the black people and I'm white, and you guys need to know that I don't have white fragility. We're bad and America's bad and all this. Like I'm done, but just trying to like reason with these people.
He expresses white fragility whenever he opens his mouth.
Yeah, right. But no, he's an ally of the people because he's white. He recognizes his privilege. That was another thing in that Proud Family.
All the money that Steve Blum makes, tell him to give it away to BLM or whatever fucking organization he thinks is actually valuable in some way, shape, or form. Until he does that, I don't give a fuck what he says. Fuck you. Put your money where your mouth is. Why don't you eat like shit? Why don't you eat government fucking cheese and give your money away to these organizations you think that you value?
Yeah.
You do it.
Well, a lot of them are pushing for that sort of stuff, and it's like, well, until you're the first motherfuckers to take a step forward, I don't think anybody else is dumb enough to actually try. except for the
Well, like I
idiots that
said
are.
earlier today, there was the post that the EU announced that we're going to ban cars in 2020. Was it 2035 or some shit like that?
Oh
And they're all
yeah, the
cheering about this. Oh yeah,
petrol
this is
cars
great.
and
It's like
shit.
yeah, basically gas. They're just trying to like ban gas like outright. So you don't have a car, you can't move around, and you're going to be stuck in those 15-minute cities that they're building all around the world that you can't escape. And everyone's like, oh no, this is good because of the environment. It's like, yeah, okay, dummy. But yeah, I mean, this dude's. Like I said, I used to like this dude. Like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I didn't like him. Like if you watch any cartoon or anime in the early to mid 2000s, you've probably heard his voice many times before. He's probably been in your favorite stuff. But at the end of the day, this is who this guy is. So it's a weird thing with kind of like anime where it's like, okay, well he's only like the English voice of like this character, so it's not like I can watch it without having to worry about, oh no, this guy hates me. It's like, no, he was just the guy who did the English voice. You can still watch all this shit and not have to worry about him at all. But I mean, look, this is why I say a lot of your heroes are morally broken, and then the more you come to accept that, the easier your life will become in the future. So any final thoughts on this one before we move on to our next topic?
Yeah. I think it's actually quite ironic that these people portray heroic characters and whatnot because they're anything but heroic.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's what it comes down to though. These guys in their minds, they think that they're like the Captain America and Iron Mans of society, and they're just fighting those evil Nazi Hydra every single day. It's like these people concept of reality is so warped through just nepotism, narcissism, and a whole bunch of other things. It's like these people don't live in reality at all. Like they live in an alternate universe, living amongst the real people. Like people say, oh, aliens are among us. No, we also have zombies among us too. They're not eating brains; they're just dumb. So that's their difference there. So
It's kind of funny how you have like the English voice actors and you have the localizers trying to act like they own the property when no, you guys do not. You are either translating or you are voicing Japan's property. Stop acting like it's your own.
What is the old saying? What is the old saying? I run this house, you just pay rent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just amazing how more and more it proves to be impossible for people to keep their politics out of their jobs, their just basic activities. It's just this is how
it's job. It's entertainment. It's sports. I mean, obviously we saw I'm pretty sure most people saw the Super Bowl over this weekend. Now we have like a black national anthem separate from the American national anthem. So it's just more division. And then when you point that out, they try to be like, oh no, you're the one dividing all of us while you're showing all of these imageries of the black people versus the police and all this other nonsense going on here. So it's like, yeah, they accuse you of exactly what they're doing, and you try to pretend like that, you're not the one that's doing it. But let's go ahead and introduce our friend back to the podcast who's late, by the way. Hey, Johnson, how you doing?
Hey, everyone. Sorry I'm late today.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm like, I got kids to take care of.
You're fired.
That's my
Where were
usual
you?
excuse. So I was actually on my own podcast. So I have a writer's podcast, and I was recording one. So
That's cool.
that'll probably be what I promo tonight, actually, because I could get one of you guys to come on too and, talk with me about a book or something.
We'll see.
So,
I want to jump over to this next. Well, we were talking about the Steve Blum complaining about the Proud Family, saying that anyone who's anti-woke is racist and dangerous and whatnot. But we pretty much spent the last 20 minutes calling him an idiot. So I do want to hop over to this next topic here, which is Disney, because Disney seems to be the world's burning around them. Like, it wasn't that long ago when we were talking about a company like Disney, we were saying that, oh, Disney's too big to fail. They control too much. Well, they're being hurt pretty badly right now. There's a lot of financial news about Disney potentially falling off of a cliff here in the last few weeks that have been announced. And so one of the many stories about Disney that's going on this week is you see here, Bob Iger announced that they're laying off 7,000 employees, which I believe is even more than what Bob Chapek was initially saying he was going to lay off. So they're doing massive slashes to spending and made it profit profitability crisis, meaning that they are not making money. I've been saying this for a while that I think the FTX collapse really hurt Disney more than they let on, and even still they haven't really talked about the full extent that collapse has had on them. But we're talking about billions of dollars that they're instantly in the red of right now. So they're slashing 7,000 jobs. They're hoping to cut about $5.5 billion in spending. Which, if you keep this in mind, who's the guy at David Zaslav at Warner Brothers Discovery, when he came in charge, he wanted to cut about $3 billion. People were saying that he's crazy and that he doesn't know what he's doing. Now here's Bob Iger saying that he wants to cut almost double what Warner Brothers Discovery has spent the last year trying to cut. So I don't think that they're the front runners to get to buy the WWE at this point, which a lot of people for some reason still believe that they are, even though they're not. Here's another hurt for Disney here. Their streaming service lost more than $1 billion. I think they lost about 2.5 million subscribers worldwide. They lost about $1 billion just on the spending versus what they're actually bringing in revenue. So Disney Plus still is not profitable for them, even though Iger's back at the helm. They lost almost 78% of a larger loss from the same period a year ago. So it was a big, massive hit for Disney. They're still bleeding there. I think I heard a story not too long ago that they're probably looking to sell Hulu, which you have to understand about Hulu. They spent like literally billions of dollars to get a controlling interest in Hulu. Remember the whole sale with 21st Century Fox, which was like almost $80 billion, and getting full control of Hulu was a big part of that. Now here we are just a couple of years after that deal was finalized, and they're talking about selling Hulu. That's how hard up on money they are right now. You see here, Disney Plus loses another 2.4 million subscribers. And then on top of all of this, Ron DeSantis is hammering them as well, as far as the Reedy Creek district. They're going to lose that district, going to lose control of that district, which means that more taxes, more money is going to get spent for them to operate out of Florida as it did before. And their theme parks are down. They've been dealing a lot with the theme parks ever since the COVID era. Like, Disney's getting hit from a lot of angles here, and it seems like their decision last year to go all in on their woke agenda and all in against Rob DeSantis is finally coming back and biting them in the ass. And guess what? It's not going to get better anytime soon. I know they announced that, hey, we're going to bring Tim Allen back for Toy Story 5, and we're going to do this project and that project, trying to reel people back in. All of the meltdown projects that they did last year in response to Ron DeSantis and the Florida bill, those still haven't even come out yet. So they still got a lot more worse woke stuff coming down the pike over the next couple of years that they're already been shot, they've already been produced, so they can't pull these back away now. So it's going to take a couple of years before you see any real change in Disney, and that's even if they want to do any change at Disney at the moment. So I want to go ahead and start with Johnson because she was late. Johnson, what do you think about Disney falling off a cliff and burning financially?
Burn, baby, burn. No, you reap what you sow. Obviously, This was an irresponsible investment from the get-go. The thing about like the woke revolution is that it's pushing against human nature in a lot of ways, and it's just like you're not going to be able to build onto your already massive empire in a way that's going to erode with time, like significantly faster. It's like you're not gonna build like a sandcastle next to your house and then go live in the sandcastle, so yeah, this is it's I just feel sorry for all the workers that will lose their jobs, and I'm sorry. So
all of them?
The nice thing about not all of them probably, but I mean, like
I mean, certainly there'll be a few, of course, but I mean, there's a lot of them who probably deserve to get fired at this point too. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Well, I mean, there was like that one guy that had cheese pizza on his computer a while ago.
Oh yeah. So. There was a lot of guys with cheese pizza on their computers not so long ago, including producers for ABC, which is also owned by Disney. Kind of funny how that keeps happening, right?
They keep on doing it.
There is a point where your empire gets too big to operate effectively. So yeah. I mean, that's an evolutionary theory. That's the social evolution is like that too, where you just hit the point where the most resources are taken up by the most amount of people. That's optimal, and then everything after that is in decline.
Yep. And I do want to bring this up because Doba Fed mentioned this as well. He said that that a lot of their cuts are going to come in content creation, which means there'll be fewer Marvel and Star Wars materials. I think Chapek did come out and say, either Chapek or Feige, I don't remember which one of them did, but one of them did say that there's going to be fewer Disney Plus shows as a result of the recent wave of cuts. I know they already have like maybe 7 or 8 Disney Marvel projects already planned. Half of them are pretty much already in production, so I don't know how much of that's going to get pulled back here in the next few months, but they're probably going to be focusing more on movies, like actual movies that they can get bigger returns on rather than just trying to live and die on the streaming brand right now. So, and then I'll jump over to this one with Cassie here. It's like, what do you think? Will you think that Disney's downfall began with the buyout of 20th Century Fox and embracing the wokeness or whatever do you have? I think them buying Fox, in all honesty, was a decision that came back to bite them in the ass hard, considering the fact how much they spent on that. It was almost $80 billion they spent to acquire 21st Century Fox, and they really haven't done anything with any of those properties that they've bought so far. Like I said, they're already talking about selling Hulu after getting a majority control of that network. Have they done anything with like the X-Men? Have they done anything with like I said, the Simpsons brand? I know a lot of the cable networks they couldn't get a hold of because of copyright, not copyright, but monopoly laws and things of that nature. But there hasn't really been a whole lot that they've done with that property for the amount of money that they spend for it. And now here they are hard up on cash issues. Well, guess what? Maybe you shouldn't have spent $80 billion on that property. Maybe that didn't help. And then, of course, doubling down on all the woke stuff didn't help you either. But what do you think about this, Cassie?
Well, I mean, I default to basics. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Disney is spread out in many different branches. I think for sure they felt as though, yeah, we have so much influence in culture that we can make shit work for us our way. And they've definitely played their hand, and they got too bold. And this is what happens. Florida ain't taking their shit.
Nope.
A lot of parents are waking up to Disney not being the Disney that we grew up with. They're some sick motherfuckers over at Disney, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to what they want to expose their children to. And really, they have just not, in many regards, they have not evolved, especially on their film front. They've become stale in a lot of instances. They destroyed franchises. Like Star Wars is one of them. They're running the Marvel cinematic universe into the ground. Things, while they've been able to prosper for a long time, the well is starting to run dry for them. And, when you do bring up the whole Fox thing, it's like, I'm just thinking in my head, like, in the very least, they should have did like 4K Blu-ray releases for stuff like Aliens, like all this great shit, like that I would go out of my way to get. Like it pains me to think that, we're never going to see a physical 4K Blu-ray release for Aliens. And one thing I loved about Fox was that their 4K transfers, even especially of like older film, like actual movies that were on film, were astounding. They did such a great job with them. If you look at the original Star Wars trilogy, the A New Hope was done by Fox, and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi were done by Disney. A New Hope looks drastically better than the other two. And that's a testament to Fox's quality team when it comes to Blu-ray releases. I mean, if they would have continued on that front, they'd make some revenue, in regards to releasing physical media. But yeah, they bought Fox to essentially hold these IPs hostage. And you know what? They're going to have to make some moves, and they're going to have to compromise. All these changes that they're making, it's fickle in the grand scheme of things because they're not compromising. And with that, I hope that they continue to lose money until they come to a conclusion. Yeah, we made some serious mistakes here, and we're going to have to try and make things better. And you know what? They can continue either way suits me. If you want to compromise, you want to actually start maybe trying to do the right thing and get into the good graces of society, that's cool, whatever. I'm still going to hold what I hold against you, but at least you kowtowing is important. Or if you want to continue to be the narcissistic pricks that want to groom children, keep going for it. You know what? Be more bombastic about it. Let people blatantly know that that's what you're about, so that they can avoid you and avoid giving you your money. Honestly, when me and my best friend go to the movies to hang out and shit, our one rule is we do not watch anything Disney. Never. Like I avoid it like the plague. And we see Disney shit in the stores. I seen a lot of Disney stuff on the clearance section when we went to was it like TG Max or some crap like that.
Of it.
I definitely took notice of that. Like, good for you. Like, it's like good. You deserve it. You don't deserve to make any money. Fuck off.
Yeah, a lot of those female replacement characters in the MCU, those action figures are dying at Walmart shelves right now, all on clearance, because they're not nearly as popular as they thought that it was or wanted to be.
Ollie's too. It's that dirt cheap Ollie's, all the discount stores. They are just dying. But something that Bob Iger needs to do is he needs to pull a Zaslav. Well, minus killing some of the shows that probably should have stayed, and just cut all the activist fat, which I'm hoping a good chunk of these employees are activist fat. That besides literal,
the activists are still pulling the strings, though. That's the problem.
That is the problem.
The whole thought because we will talk about that later on. But we'll stick with Disney for now. But that is going to come back up later on in the show.
Because that's the problem with Disney is one, if Iger is smart, he can get rid of the live action interpretations or bastardizations, of the classic films, unless he's going to do something like maybe Black Cauldron or something like that. If he wants to do that, or maybe Atlantis, I think, or Treasure Planet, I think those three, I think people would be fine with. But other than that, just leave him alone. The other thing that Bob Iger needs to do is look at the Fox properties and look at some of the unmade Disney unmade Fox movies that they have. And I think they have some Blue Sky, films that could be made as well that were ready to go. But Disney said, screw you, bring those out. Screw the live action bullshit. Just bring back the animation that was basically ready to go. And there's money right there. You'll get people in seats. You'll get people watching it on Disney Plus instantly, because there's a lot of animation fans that have been, following this, following the Blue Sky Lost Animation stuff and all the canceled Disney movies and all the canceled Fox stuff. I don't understand how this is hard.
It's hard when you're focused on your agenda more than you're focused on any actual entertainment, and that's why all of these things die on the vine, because they're far more interested in indoctrination than entertainment right now. Orange Hat, what do you think about the fall of Disney?
I absolutely love it, because it's like they kind of are following the Heath Ledger's Joker kind of created. It's like, it's not about the money, it's about sending a message. Well, the consequences of said message is everything burns, especially your money, because you're too stupid to realize that the stuff you're peddling is what's burning down your company. You're only throwing fuel on the fire every time you push this stuff. Sexualizing children, trying to indoctrinate children, all of this stuff has consequences. They don't like to admit that they are suffering these consequences by losing the billions of dollars and laying off the 7,000 people. And believe me when I say, and I'm about to be as blunt as ever, I have absolutely no pity for anybody who is losing their job at Disney, because in some way, shape, or form, when they are working there, for most of them, they do kind of support what Disney is doing in one way or another. Now, if they are simply there for a job and need a job, and they don't support all the heinous crap that corporation is doing, well, you are still working there and greasing the cogs to keep it going. So, I have no pity for them. It is an unfortunate side effect of reality that people will lose their jobs when stuff goes downhill. And as cold as I am saying that, I'm sorry, I'm a very cold-blooded bastard, and I have no problem admitting that. But when you have a company, whenever Florida does a sex trafficking sting operation, and every single freaking operation has a Disney employee caught up in it, it's hard to sympathize. As for
Not even just a Disney employee, several Disney employees.
yeah, exactly. And they're not learning. I've been covering Disney's evil since I started my channel. I have a video that is like 3 years old that has over 3,000 views, and people are still finding that video. It is insane. And it was from a Bounding article. And it's like, well, I have no pity for them. And if they're going to try to bring back Tim Allen, it's like, it's good luck. You guys have shit on Tim Allen. You've pissed on him. Do you really think that he's going to, or you think he's going to come back? Now, there is a chance he may. But honestly, if he's looking at what Disney is doing, and if he has any sort of morality in him, he'll say, "No, you guys done fucked up. I'm not gonna keep greasing your pockets and whatnot," because Disney is a very evil corporation, folks. I have often compared it to the real life Wayland Yutani from Aliens. I know that's about to get a grin out of Cassie. But it's like, well, now we're looking at the Wayland Yutani that no longer, or that's kind of on the suffering before it ends up what happened to it in Alien Resurrection, that god-awful Alien movie, where they got bought out by Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I'd love to see that happen. But it's like, this is the reward that you're reaping, and it's not really a reward, it's a consequence.
I will say their lineup that they kind of announced spoke to me of desperation. Like the husband buying the flowers after beating the wife up. So
yeah.
Frozen 3,
Well,
2, Toy Story 5. Let me just fix that, darling, that smudge underneath your both eyes.
I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this last night when we were doing the review, how I was at the Super Bowl party. We were talking about just like upcoming movies, and it seems like everything is not just like a sequel to something, but everything is like part 3 or part 4 or part 10 or part 8. Like this is like all the movies. Like we have Fast 10, we have like Ant-Man 3, Guardians 3, we have Expendables 4, John Wick 4, Mission Impossible 8. Like they're all just like several regurgitations of just sequels over and over again. Like we really got to a point where there's no creativity in Hollywood right now, and if there is any creativity, it ain't coming from a major right now.
Oh, I have to point this out because I destroyed this mofo. So this guy was bringing up like Strange World, and they're like, "Oh, when there's original ideas, you guys don't come out to the box office and it bombs and blah blah blah." And I'm like, well, Demon Slayer, when it was out here in the US and it was during COVID, it shelled the fuck out. So
at this rate, at this point, woke shit is not an original thought, okay?
No, that's why I was like, dude, so where are you? And he shut up. He didn't block me or anything. He did not answer back. I was just like, dude, you can't, when these people say this kind of stupid shit, it's like, dude, just bring up Demon Slayer, Mugen Train. Like, look, this came out during COVID and whooped Hollywood's ass. It's no longer COVID, and you are putting out original content, and it's not doing shit. An anime movie during COVID whooped your ass. So what's good? They can't say shit to that. I'm just saying.
They can't because they have no creativity. Rick, Disney's dead. What do you think?
Well, I know he's dead. They could just unfreeze him, right? I mean, he's kept us in a chamber. They could defrost him.
It's like in Futurama, his head is in a fucking glass jar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was hey, what's up? I was hearing a little bit of the conversation. I do feel for some of those employees who really just went in there they just went in there to work. I mean, I was thrown out of work about a year or two ago. It's not a fun experience. As for Disney, yeah, they're trying to. They have nothing. They have nothing to offer. C.S. Johnson's right. I saw that list too about, was it Toy Story 5? Really need a Story 5 because I thought the Toy Story 4 was pretty much the end, and then I never saw Zootopia.
I thought
Frozen
Toy
3.
Story
That's what.
3 was pretty much the end. Wasn't that supposed to be like the
Toy
cutoff
Story
point?
3 had
Yeah,
the perfect
yeah. It
ending.
was supposed to
Toy
be the
Story
end.
3 was the end for me.
And then Frozen 3, that's where Elsa's going to get her girlfriend at long last. And they have nothing to offer. And all these other, I mean, we forget they own the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're offering that. As for, yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing for Disney. Not even their theme parks, which is sad because they're celebrating their centennial. They're making a big to do out of the 100 years of imagination or whatever. And I still would go to the parks. I like going to the parks, but what is there for me to enjoy? I mean, hey, I would go see the Hall of Presidents. I want to see Uncle Joe speak there.
Oh God, no! Why? Why would you
I
do
could make
that?
up a
Bad
remark, but I
choice.
won't.
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting until Uncle Joe leaves, and then we'll get Kamala, and then we'll get Pete Buttigieg, and then we'll get AOC. Those are going to be the next four presidents.
I
I
don't know.
am
Ben Shapiro
seriously
running
hearing
against
Vegeta
AOC.
right now. Why are you even here?
I'd rather just have Majin Buu just blow up the Earth at this point. I think that would be more satisfying.
We'll,
Listen,
we'll
you
get
know-
some of those balloons. We'll wait for some of those more balloons to just float over us.
Well, while I agree, Toy Story 3 was a great ending.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed Toy Story 4. I'm not gonna lie.
How
I feel
dare
like Toy
you?
Story
Child.
4 was like some kind of like addendum. It wasn't actually important or
No,
anything.
no,
So.
no. I don't think I had no enthusiasm, but I feel bad. I do feel bad for the employees. But hey, just get the DVDs of the original series and all the previous movies if you don't, if you want to hold on to that, because not everything is on streaming. Not everything is on streaming. Just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
physical
And it's
media.
not all of it is, and some of it is censored. And I'm looking at you, Dumbo. You are censored, and you are censored too, Peter Pan. And also, if Disney were smart, they would get the movies out of the vault, like the classic movies, and they would release them. But I'm scared if it's going to be censored or not. It's like,
Yeah.
But
That's
we're
fine.
gonna,
Careful
but
what
we're
you
already
ask
going
for.
to
Let's
get
put it that way.
we're going to get Tiana's new adventure to take the place of that racist Splash Mountain. So there you go.
How is
Something
Splash
I
Mountain
noticed,
racist?
though,
Because
But something I've
it's
noticed,
from the
there's
Song
a
of the
trend.
South.
There's a trend though where people are starting to buy like classic Disney VHSs or just VHS in general from like thrift stores and shit. And I'm just like, well, I don't blame people for buying VHS.
That's happening a lot up
Buy-
here.
Buy that physical
Yep.
media before they take that shit from you too. So that's all
Yep.
I'll
Or
say there.
censored.
But
Yeah, they're buying VHS and Laserdisc and DVD.
yep, like I said, get them now while you still can, because all that stuff is going to be nuked when we get to streaming services. But I want to move over to our next topic here, and we all knew this day was coming, and it's finally here. They finally released the trailer for the next Flash movie, and we're all supposed to forget who's the star of the movie, who's going to be primarily featured in the film. Because hey, guys, Batman's back. Did you see they brought back Michael Keaton Batman? And that's pretty much the entire story of this whole trailer. Is that they front loaded Batman and Supergirl in the trailer for this movie, so that way you won't focus on the fact that it's still Ezra Miller playing multiple roles in this film for 2 hours, and he's going to be the main focus of the film. So they're trying to distract everyone by saying, hey, see, Michael Keaton's back, he's wearing the Batman suit. And then, hey, Supergirl, we got race swapped, gender swap, quote unquote, Supergirl coming out. So focus on that. Don't ask any questions about Ezra Miller until our Good Morning America interview comes out. But DC Studios, James Gunn shared the trailer on Sunday evening. Obviously, it was broadcast during the Super Bowl. This movie's already slated to come out on June 16th this summer. So we all know that Warner Brothers has a massive investment in this film. I know like the production budget was somewhere like almost 300 million with a lot of the reshoots and delays and stuff like that. So with the marketing budget, they're going to need a massive return on this movie. I just don't see it. We all know that they're going to try to rehab Ezra Miller's image as much as they possibly can before this movie comes out so they can get that money back. And then, of course, the big story here is that once this movie is finally out, once they finally bit the bullet on this one way or another, are they still going to try to find some kind of way to bring him back for future roles after getting rid of The Rock, getting rid of Henry Cavill, seemingly getting rid of Gal Gadot and a number of other people? Are they still going to stick with Ezra Miller when it's all said and done? It's all this fanfare of, hey, you know, we got Ben Affleck's back, and hey, we might even have Christian Bale, hint, hint, wink, wink, and all these other references and comebacks, doing our own version of the multiverse, because that's what everyone's doing now. Everyone has to have a multiverse now, but are they going to try to find some way to rehab this guy's image and bring him back? I can't play the trailer for you guys, obviously, because it will get claimed. But if you guys saw the trailer for The Flash, what did you think of it? And what do you think of Ezra Miller's involvement of this film? Cassie, I'll start with this.
I didn't watch the trailer. I have zero interest in the movie.
I have something
why do I
to
have
say
her on
on
the show?
this.
That's all I need to say. Why is she here?
I do have something to say on this, though. Is
Well,
that
I mean,
Just sad panda face.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
but this is oh, sorry, Cassie, go.
I was just gonna say, my friend saw the trailer. He was like, "Yeah, I know that this mofo right here, he's piece of shit on planet Earth, but like that Michael Keaton Batman though." And it's like I'm not even like I get it, I get it. It's one of those things where they're trying to really pull at people's heartstrings, and it's just disappointing that they're going to carry this motherfucker to the finish line. That's why I want no part of it. I don't want to support it in any way. I don't want to give it clicks. I just don't really care. And unlike these anti-Hogwarts legacy activists, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do with their time, with their money. That's up to you. But personally, I refuse to indulge. And it's like, will he be in future films? I don't see why not, because I mean, what's his name? The dude that's running the show now, James Gunn. He thinks that pedophilia is a funny joke. So I mean, why would he have a problem with this fucking weirdo playing the Flash in future films? I really don't see them, necessarily cutting ties with the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Orange, before I get to you, I do want to hold on. I do want to highlight this comment here first. It says from our good buddy JEC. He says that I can understand after watching is why they didn't want to recast Ezra Miller, because they made him such a critical role in this film. He's playing multiple roles, multiple versions of himself, that if they tried to recast him with a different actor, they pretty much would have to reshoot the entire movie. So this may be a justification for why they're just having to bite the bullet and ride this wave with him. But you can also say, well, I mean, you guys knew he was a nutcase beforehand, so I don't know why you put that much stock into him. That you let the entirety of this franchise hinge on Ezra Miller's mental instability, which is probably a mistake from the jump. But what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, that was my point, is that this is, and I said this in our Twitter chat, is that movie is basically Ezra fighting his inner demons, and Reverse Flash obviously won. That's what this movie is. It's a documentary on Ezra fighting his inner demons, and Batman just happens to be in it, and same with Supergirl and Zod. But in all reality, I feel like from what we've seen, considering Zod's in this too, it really feels like this should have been a Man of Steel movie, and I'm pissed off that Henry Cavill's not in it. And I don't think I'm going to forgive Warner Brothers for not having Henry Cavill in it, and not just booting Ezra Miller and just putting Henry Cavill in this movie.
The Henry Cavill simps are strong, man.
Well, my thoughts on this are I've seen the trailer, and I'm now hoping that the Ana de Armas lawsuit against whichever company it is goes through to set the precedent that we could sue for false advertising. By them front-loading Batman and Michael Keaton, they are basically, and this can be taken as interpretation, saying that this is more of a Batman movie than a Flash movie. Also, I've already seen this movie because I've seen the DCAU movie, The Flashpoint Paradox, because seeing how Kara, I'm guessing it's Kara L instead of Kara Zor-El in this case, how she was all super thin in a bunker where the government is holding her, that's straight out of the Flashpoint Paradox. If you guys want to see a good version of this this movie, look no further than the DCAU, the movie that started off the whole DCAU, which was the Flashpoint Paradox, because that's basically what this is. Barry goes back, saves his mom, fucks up reality, has to go back, let his mom die, so that reality can go back to a way it was. Now, instead of putting Reverse Flash in there, apparently they're going to have Dark Flash, which is the black outfit. But when it comes to this movie, or specifically, I have made my point abundantly clear. I will not watch it. I will not support it. If anybody who is against Ezra Miller and who has spoken out against Ezra's actions across 4 different fucking countries where he's terrorized women, if you are all saying that he is an asshole and he is indeed escaped consequences and whatnot, and then you're going to go and review this movie for content to your channel, you're a fucking hypocrite. I'm going to say that flat out to anybody who does, because I will not watch this movie. I will not go to the theater to support this movie. There's no way. I'm not reviewing it. I have been against Ezra Miller ever since this man has chosen to become a threat towards women. And ever since he has decided that criminal behavior is the way to go. I don't like people who break the law. I don't like people who skirt the law for their own gain. And Ezra Miller is one of those kind of people. I'm sorry to Michael Keaton. I'm sorry to Ben Affleck. I'm sorry to that girl who plays Supergirl with the Imperial cape. I'm sorry, but I can't support a film in which the person you are associating with is in. That person decided to do horrendous things, and I would honestly like to know your personal or their personal thoughts on this, not their thoughts in front of a camera, but their thoughts off camera, because honestly, I want to see if they would actually try defending his ass. And then I would know for a fact that they're not worth supporting as well.
It's one of those things where like his like, you know, flaunting his ability to just do whatever the fuck he wants to do in front of the general public, evading police. It's a game to him. I think, you know, it's an insult to everyone's intelligence, really. And I just find it offensive that he thinks he's better than us. Meanwhile, he's like, you know, the biggest piece of shit that you know, has a giant mega corporation that has, you know, his back.
Honestly, I'm surprised that that he's not dead yet, to be completely honest. And I'm not saying I want him dead, but I'm honestly wondering how he has managed to escape the grip of the KKK after he threatened to kill them. I mean, it's like, dude, that's one group you don't want to frickin' fuck with, even if they are very few and far between.
Someone mentioned this.
You never know.
Someone mentioned this. Someone mentioned this. I didn't even never went back to actually see if this was ever true or not. But when he did that whole video where he threatened like some chapter of the KKK, didn't it turn out that chapter didn't actually exist? Like there was that. I vaguely remember something about that like a couple of years ago. I'm not sure if anyone could do any research on that, but I do remember that whole fall out of the video. So here's what I'm looking at it. This is what it feels like to me. It's that, like I said, they're going to keep Ezra Miller on ice until the release of this film, which means they still got another 4 months to go before they decide what they're going to do with him here. And I think they're going to wait to see what the box office response to this movie is, because if this movie completely flops, which it very well could be, simply based on the fact that DC movies haven't performed well at the box office anyway, that they can just use that and say, okay, well, this is our excuse. We just get rid of him. We tried to make it work, but obviously nobody wants to go see this guy at the box office. We're done with him. And what I feel like is that if this movie, I don't know, does well enough, that they'll try to use that as an excuse of, oh, okay, well, clearly it didn't matter. We still made our money. So, yeah, let's keep Ezra Miller and do more projects with him in the future. So it feels like they're waiting to see exactly how this film plays out in the box office about whether they're actually going to get rid of Miller one way or another. It seems like that's going to be their key here. So, Rick, what do you think of the whole Flash situation here?
Well, I don't think that the public is as I don't want to say obsessed, but as aware of Ezra Miller's shall we say eccentric behavior as the people here. Most people don't follow that kind of news as much as perhaps we do. So I don't think it's going to play a major role. There are people who won't watch it. I understand that. I might watch it if I'm asked to review it, or if I'm asked to go with someone to go see it. It's not something that I'm interested in. I I'm
So are
I
you
don't understand
signing up to
why.
go watch the movie so that none of us have to go watch it?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, Jacob, if you assigned it to us, if I had to suffer through Magic Mike, I'm certainly able to suffer through the Flash. I could just say that I don't know if the Flash, the character himself, is that big enough with people that they'll rush out to see a movie with him, and you have to front load it with a 71
Batman.
year old man. This is a 71-year-old man who, I mean, bless him, he's still working there, but why is he being trotted out? I don't understand why people have this weird obsession with having to have the actors who played these characters from 30, 40 years ago still play the same characters. I mean, was this not, I think somebody online mentioned it, was this not like Birdman? I mean, is he living out the real version of Birdman here? Why do we need more multiverses? That's for me lazy. It was lazy in Spider-Man. I didn't need to see Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield popping in there. And now I don't need to see the Michael Keaton version of Batman pop in there. I just don't understand why we need this. Why are people this attached? It's time to
Because we're in
go.
the multiverse saga, Rick. You're the biggest MCU fan in the planet, so you should know that this is the multiverse saga. Everyone has to have a multiverse. We have to bring back every actor who has ever played Batman ever, who is still alive and could still speak, which means that Val Kilmer is the only one we're not going to bring back.
Oh gosh, are we gonna have George Clooney pop in here too?
We may. I mean, there's been rumors that they're going to try to bring him back. I know there was a little confusion because I think they saw like on one of the scenes in the trailer, it looked like that it was Christian Bale's Batman riding the little bike motorcycle in the street. So there's been talks about whether they're going to bring him back. Apparently, that's not the case, but there has been rumors of bringing back past Batman's, which doesn't make any
Actually,
sense to me because I mean, if you're not going to bring back, I mean, if you're going to bring back Christian Bale, then you would have to bring back Christopher Nolan to actually make the movie, or else it just doesn't make any sense.
You
I
could have a
actually
CGI Adam West at this point. Just have him pop out.
actually
Or
didn't mind
AI
Val
Adam
Kilmer as
West.
Batman.
Yeah,
I didn't mind Val Kilmer as Batman at all, actually.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was okay. He was okay, but we don't need this. This is just uh, it depends on how much money this movie makes, but why do I don't get the whole point. I will watch it if I'm asked to. It's not something that I will rush out to, but you know, just they should just end the whole DCEU. What people aren't as invested in it as they were with Marvel, and even Marvel is a diminishing returns where people are not as excited. I struggle to find anyone who would go see Ant-Man with me. nobody wanted to go except for
Well,
Gabe.
apparently they're all saying that Ant-Man is on pace for almost $300 million in his opening weekend worldwide. We'll have to see if that actually pans out, because I think that'll be well above what any of the other ones have done. But maybe it's good news for Disney, because they've already front-loaded their big bad villain for the next 4 years in that film, and if that one flops, it's not going to be a good sign for them. So
But the thing is, I don't know if putting Michael Keaton here is done to kind of hide the fact that Ezra Miller is doing many versions of the Flash. I think they're doing it because people still love Michael Keaton as Batman. They still respect him as Michael Keaton as a Batman. They have this strong attachment to him as Batman. So maybe that's like, how are they going to introduce him into this multiverse? Are we going to get Linda Carter popping in as Wonder Woman too? Might as well at this point. It's just getting so out of hand. But this is going to be. I honestly don't care. I've never cared. I don't follow this. I guess I'm as a person who does not follow this. I'm just wondering, didn't uh didn't Superman snap General Zod's neck, and that was supposed to be a great controversy and scandal. So I
and
guess
then
we're
didn't they
popping
use
back
his
up.
body to didn't they use his body to create Doomsday and like Batman versus Superman after he was already dead? So I guess this is gonna be a multiverse version of Zod that's coming back to be the new villain of this film. It's like, I hate Michael Shannon too. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Like, Michael Shannon and Ezra Miller as people are two of my least favorite people on earth. So the fact that they're both going to be in this movie makes me somehow even less excited for the film, and I wasn't even excited at all to watch this movie to begin with. So
I
yeah,
just,
Michael
I
everything's
just
Shannon
great.
don't.
called for the death of all of us, so yeah.
Oh
I
yeah, not
just
only
don't
that, but he also told people
understand.
that if go ahead.
Now, I just don't understand why people want are actually trusting or willing to put themselves out there for them to take like their favorite nostalgic memories, like a Michael Keaton Batman in modern day, with people that have nothing but vitriol towards anything nostalgic, towards anything that we like. Like, how do you put any trust in these people that have done nothing but shown that they have absolutely no respect for you or for anything that you love? I don't get excited for any of it. I just want the past to stay in the past. I could have my DVDs, Blu-rays, whatever of that, and if I want to revisit those times, I can just pop in my DVD, Blu-ray, and continue from there. I do not want modern day creators to get their hands on things that I hold dear to my heart, my childhood, whatever. I think that they do not deserve the benefit of the doubt.
And I mean, this is just an overall aspect of filmmaking right now, because I know it's not on the subject, but we're going to have another Indiana Jones film. I mean, the first one came out literally, around, slightly before or after my birth. It's insane that we have to keep going around like this. I mean, it's time to just give up the nostalgia. You can't, I mean, it's one thing to acknowledge the past, but it's another thing to just keep going back into it in the nicest way possible. Grow up, people. Just grow up. Let it go. Let it go. Let your nostalgia go for all of these characters, and create new characters. Stop trotting out 80-year-olds and 71-year-olds and force them to dress up in these costumes so that you could relive your childhood memories. Just just let it go, people.
You hear that, Alexa Bliss?
Oh, well, I
Yeah,
agree with Rick. Everybody needs to grow up. So, um,
yeah.
I
That's another
understand,
sequel, by
like,
the way, Indiana Jones.
yeah, um, people need to realize that heroes are meant to inspire people. You're not supposed to actually like put any like real life value into how they're going to turn out, like into your life. So,
They're not supposed to be immortalized.
well, I mean, I can understand like looking up to like I really loved Sailor Moon as a kid. I think she holds up as a really good character still. But it's like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I need, super duper Sailor Moon, like where she teams up with her great granddaughter to fight clones of the Negaverse. I mean, like I really don't need that. So
Yeah,
No
and I
one
mean,
does.
I still remember what is it, the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I mean, that was slightly different. You had the old, the old version. You don't need to make a man like, he's 80. You don't need to have him still trying to play a character who should be in his what 40s or late 30s.
Yeah.
Same
When
with
you have to
same
spend
with
like
Michael Keaton.
$40 million, when you have to spend like $40 million of CGI just to make it seem like Harrison Ford isn't a wrinkly old man, I probably should tell you maybe you should just do something else.
But then again, you had the same thing with Star Wars, where you had to trot them out, you had to trot out Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. And why? I mean, this is time to
And
let
you
a lot
couldn't
of
even
that
keep
go.
Carrie Fisher alive throughout the entire trilogy. What does that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like these people behind these films. It's like they're looking at this fire that is burnt out like a week ago, and they're just like, yeah, we're still gonna use this firewood that's already been used up and try to relight this flame that is long past using only what we is already been presented. And it's like, well, we'll figure out how to do this despite it going against basic like reality, and we'll use science to relight this flame if we have to. And it's just like, no, the wood has been burnt through. It's over. Like, get the fuck over it. Move on. It's just too much,
Yeah.
man.
Well, I think this is kind of like the end point of nihilism. Like it's been trending for a long time, even with the Snyderverse and stuff, and before the Snyderverse, excuse me. And I actually think the first like Batman Begins movie kind of started it, and then Dark Knight kind of added to it. And we need stories about how to come back from nihilism now, and it's very hard for people who are overly jaded and overly cynical and who don't actually know the way back themselves. And they just want these kind of heroes to come in and like show them how to do it. And it's not going to work. So it's not going to work with your Nepto writers, and it's not going to work with any modern day ones. I think today you'd have to get either really old ones who can help, and that means that you have to spend more money, or you're going to have to find somebody that can tell you those things. Like me. No, I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding, but I mean like you need people that can write a good script that offers hope and optimism, like Henry Cavill was saying, and that's why they fired him, of course. So
Yep. And then these people are those people who fired him are now going to be in charge of all of your TV and movies, which is like, yeah, I've outlived the point of, oh yeah, I would love to see a remake of this show or video game or TV show or movie and from years ago, so I can see it again. It's like, no, I don't trust any of these writers from any of these major studios to handle this properly at all, because they all have contempt for everything that these properties stood for, and they're all going to do is bastardize it and ruin it, which will be part of our closer today. But before we get to our closer, I do have another story here that I wanted to get in. I'm glad that Rick finally decided to join us and show his face here, because this one's about his boy, Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg was on record of thanking Tom Cruise, saying that Top Gun Maverick saved this film industry last year. So I wanted to see if you agree with his comments that he made. So Steven Spielberg tells Tom Cruise, "You saved Hollywood's ass, and Top Gun Maverick might have saved the entire theatrical industry." So it's funny enough because I think Avatar 2 is at what 2.2 billion at the moment, but 71% of that is overseas, right? So I think like 1.6 of that is coming from overseas outside the United States. As of right now, Top Gun Maverick is still the number one domestic film of last year of 2020, making I think 715 at the moment. So that's a movie that really cultivated people, Americans, to get out of out of their homes into the movie theaters and watch this movie as many times as they could. And Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise were reunited at the Oscar nominees luncheon that happened earlier. And it says that the filmmaker Spielberg praised Tom Cruise for saving the theatrical movie business last year with Top Gun Maverick. He said that you saved Hollywood's ass. You may have saved theatrical distribution. Spielberg said to Cruise, in a video originally shared on his Instagram. Those so whose films who can say no to Baby Elephants is nominated for best documentary short. Cruise was left blushing, obviously, because Spielberg is a big name in Hollywood, so that would mean a lot to him. Top Gun Maverick was the second film to gross over $1 billion worldwide at the box office. The other one was obviously Avatar 2. Spider-Man No Way Home was technically 2021, right? Yeah, 2021, so it didn't really count towards last year's total. But they're talking about how, like I said, $718 million domestically at the box office for Top Gun, which is much more than any other film, especially MCU films, could top. There was one of the only two movies all last year that even broke that $1 billion mark. And obviously, Spielberg has a lot to be grateful for. So I'll start this one with you, Rick. Do you agree with Spielberg's comments? Or what do you think of Top Gun's domestic run at the box office? Did it save movies?
Well, first, I'm puzzled as to how Spielberg is my boy. But
I thought there was a whole thing about Ready Player One. We'll get into that later on. But
yeah. Okay. Well, I'll leave that aside. Well, it's an acknowledgement from Spielberg that Top Gun was a movie that people were willing to go to the theaters to see. Pre-pandemic, not even the pandemic. This post-pandemic, people were not. It's interesting. Spielberg, and I was going to make the same point. Spielberg's last two movies, nobody risked their life to go see West Side Story, which is strange because we were told that's the reason that nobody went, because of the pandemic. But comes Spider-Man, everyone rushes to see it. Top Gun Maverick, people rush to see that. They weren't rushing to see The Fabelmans, which is probably going to win Best Picture. Spielberg is right.
Stupid.
He did well. I can't help it. Spielberg is. I don't know if Top Gun Maverick by itself saved the theatrical experience, but truth be told, he's right. People went to see it. It's unfortunate they're not going to learn the right lessons from Top Gun Maverick, and it's not make a sequel to a movie that's beloved. That's one thing. It's Top Gun is beloved by people. When I went to see it, people were wearing the T-shirts. It's saying, "Talk to me, Goose," and wearing the shirts and the paraphernalia. They didn't. They had a diverse cast, but they never talked about it. They never made an issue of it. They kept a very simple story. Fabelmans is not, because it's a love letter to Steven Spielberg from Steven Spielberg. Nobody went to see a remake of a movie that has already been established as a classic from 40, 50, 60 years ago. So to wrap it up, yes, Spielberg is right. Top Gun Maverick saved the film going experience because it brought people back, and it stayed in the first run theaters for months, longer than most others. Yep. Except perhaps for Avatar. So yes, he's right, but it's curious. Spielberg may have said this, but he's obviously not going to vote Top Gun Maverick for Best Picture, is he? Nope, he's going to vote for his own film.
Orange Hat, what do you think of Spielberg's comments? What do you think about Maverick saving Hollywood, essentially?
I agree, because one, Maverick made $1 billion without a Chinese release, and saving theaters. I've been saying this. I even have a video on it, where if they get rid of theaters, and because theaters were failing during COVID, and everybody was saying streaming platforms are the future and whatnot. It's like, here's the thing. You get rid of theaters, movies like Top Gun Maverick don't exist in the future. Yep. They will not be made because the studios will not be able to afford these kind of budgets, because they won't be able to get the returns that theaters provide. And Top Gun Maverick had people going back 6, 7, sometimes even 8 or more times to the theaters to support that film because it was a breath of fresh air that people needed because they were drowning in all the woke garbage. This is a movie production that basically also flipped China the biggest middle finger you could and also fisted their ass with a freaking mace when they put the damn Taiwanese flag back in there after they took it out in the trailer and they put it back in the film. And it's like, fuck you. We're doing this the way we want. If you don't like it, we don't need you. We just made $1 billion without you. And Hollywood's not understanding that. Hollywood would rather give China that moolah, which China takes 75% of, by the way, folks. When you're saying that there's these $1 billion movies over in China, they're getting 75% of the take from any of
probably even
all
more.
the money made. Oh, no, yeah, probably 80% even of all the money that's made from the Chinese box office. The Chinese government takes, and it's for them. So yeah, you don't need China. And another thing that they did right with Top Gun Maverick, it was a pro-American movie. Something that everybody was sick and tired of seeing was all the anti-American sentiment, all the divisive content. You put a very unified content to the point where all the right people were saying, oh, this is just a right-wing extremist movie. No, this was a movie that was purely based on the entertainment of its audience who wanted to be entertained, and they were. So much so that they shelled out $100 or more dollars just to make sure that this movie did well.
Well, yes. I mean, the kind of building on what Orange Hat said, the people behind Top Gun Maverick, they understood their audience. They knew that there was an audience that loved the original, that could quote the original, that has watched the original repeatedly. So they said, you know what, we're going to keep the characters that we have. We're going to build on the ones that we're not able to participate, and we're even going to throw in some touching moments, like the one between Maverick and Iceman, which a lot of people weren't expecting, but it did move a lot of people. When I went to the screening, there were people who were very upset and in tears at that scene and what happens to the Iceman character afterwards. And they also allowed for the newer, younger cast to have their moment. Plus, again, they had that diversity. You had a Hispanic, you had a woman, you had a black character there, but it was never commented on. They never had to be in constant conflict. They were never asking for equity or this, that, or the other. They just had the characters and said, okay, we have a female pilot here, and that's the end of it. We're not going to make a deal out of it. We have a Hispanic. We're not going to make a big deal of it. We have a black man. We're not going to make a big deal out of it. They even gave Tom Cruise's character a more or less an age appropriate love interest. I mean, yes, she's probably still not exactly
somewhere within 10 years this time around. So yeah, for Tom Cruise.
Yes. So she was an intelligent woman, and she owned a bar, and she was able to stand up to him. So they kept all those elements, and they build on what they had before. So they understood it. They knew to respect the audience. That's the important thing. That's a great key here. They respected the audience. They knew that the audience loved these characters from the past, and so they were not going to step on them.
I seriously do believe that they have one more Top Gun to make. I mean, yes, if you watch the special features, they're saying that there's not going to be another movie like this made again. However, they put in a storyline to Top Gun with the drones and the unmanned stuff. They put that in and basically turned it into a throwaway if they don't have a sequel. Just me geeking out as a Top Gun fan. But yeah, Tom Cruise, he actually is the one person that is seriously saving theaters and the entertainment industry because he's making movies that fans want to see. He's making movies that are based on entertainment. He's making movies that don't push agendas, because he's actually telling Paramount, look, people are actually not wanting to see, look how they're reacting to other movies. And look how they're reacting to our movies. It's because you're not pushing that crap, or it's because we're not pushing that crap, that our movies are doing better. And so, yeah, I'm actually willing to check out the last couple Mission Impossible films. I just got the whole bundle of whatever number there was. I think
look,
6 of them
Tom
so
Cruise
far.
Tom Cruise is jumping out of planes with no parachute. The least you can do is go watch his movie for a couple hours.
Exactly. I mean,
pretty much.
And in respects to Top Gun Maverick, I'm still wondering, Cassie, what was it like flying an F-18?
Oh, it was crazy. It was like, something I'd never experienced before. Yeah, it's interesting
How would
being
you
able to
handle
go
the G-force?
that fast.
Yeah, I know, right?
I passed out a couple of times, but you just get through it. But I think the most noteworthy thing that I think was important in regards to Top Gun Maverick is the reality that the excuse making for every time a woke piece of shit that disrespects the fans, that disrespects the very source material this trash is made from, there's no excuse that, COVID is why this movie failed. That just completely, that and that Spider-Man movie that came out just completed that. It completely yeeted that bullshit excuse, off into the ether. Nobody wanted to hear it anymore. And any malice towards Top Gun Maverick any disdain for it is really just out of hatred for something that did what it was supposed to do. A movie that set out to entertain the masses, that did everything right, essentially. A movie that actually, in my opinion, managed to be a better film than the original film itself. Now, that's subjective, but I genuinely think it is a better movie than the original Top Gun.
That's objective fact, too. That is actually objective fact.
Yeah, because
so
at least in that movie,
that.
But I would say at least with that movie, like you could say that the stunts were actually like legit. Unlike the first one, which obviously didn't have the budget nor the star power to pull off a lot of shit they did.
Well, the reason why I genuinely think the Top Gun Maverick is better than the original Top Gun is because the stakes were super fucking high. Whereas, like with the original, really the stakes didn't feel very high at all.
It was just a small engagement. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like this film had a massive buildup, and they managed to pull it off in a way that was really eventful. It really didn't fall flat. It was amazing. It did everything that you could want when you introduce the idea of a Top Gun sequel. And like I said, people that hate this movie hate it just because it didn't cave to wokeness. It didn't piss on its intellectual property. It actually wanted to appeal to the people that they're trying to sell product to. Like there's just too many people in Hollywood that hate all these thought processes. And when they see something succeed by essentially doing the right thing, they don't like that. And you know what? To hell with you. Yeah, I hope more of your projects that you do that have disdain for either me or for the property itself, I hope they continue to fail. And there's no, and thankfully because of Top Gun, there's no bullshit excuse. COVID.
Well, I'll just say real quick. You look at the slate of Best Picture nominees. Which one would you think people would be watching 5 or 10 years from now? Top Gun Maverick or The Fabelmans? Top Gun Maverick or Tar? Top Gun Maverick or Avatar probably one the other one.
Let alone 10 years from now.
So Women Talking. Are the people going to watch Women Talking? If you ask them, okay, you can watch Women Talking or you can watch Top Gun Maverick, The Banshees of Inisherin or Top Gun Maverick. Trust me, people are always going to pick Top Gun Maverick.
All these films you listed, I won't even watch the first time, let alone 20 years from now. Okay, I never watched these films. I never will.
I've never heard of them.
I don't even want to watch the trailers. I don't want to be involved. Top Gun Maverick, I watched it and I would gladly watch it again and again and again.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. I watch it every night. It's that rewatchable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is that rewatchable.
Yeah, that's the thing. For me, a Best Picture has to stand the test of time. Top Gun Maverick will stand the test of time. People will still watch it. Not many people will watch Tar, as good as that might be, or as Were Women Talking, or even something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I did like. They're not going to be watching it, and I don't understand. They're not going to learn the right lessons. Spielberg should know this. He should take these. He should take the lessons that Top Gun Maverick has taught him, and make fewer Fablemans or West Side Stories. And hopefully he'll get back to the more popular type of films that he used to make. But, never, I don't know. I mean, that's up to him.
Well, any final thoughts on this one before we move over to our closer here?
We didn't get
take the
nerdy
silence.
for C.S. Johnson's.
On Top Gun? Well, I'll say this about Top Gun. The thing is with Top Gun is, as you guys all said, it's basically what people have been wanting for a long ass time. I mean, as someone who loved the original Top Gun and even rode the ride when Great America was still open in Santa Clara, I freaking love it. But this was a sequel done right, because we've been living in a time where sequels and reboots have been treated like shit. They've had a woke agenda. This did not have that. This is what a blockbuster movie is supposed to do. And Tom Cruise has never really given a shit about like a woke agenda. But then again, he's part of Scientology. So, and in the words of South Park, he is in the closet and he is packing fudge. So there is that too. And he was not happy about that. He was not happy about that and had Paramount launch a lawsuit on, I think it was on, or almost launched a lawsuit on Viacom for that, or South Park on that. He was not happy with that.
You're going to invoke the wrath of Lord Zanu. So be forewarned. He's going to explode from the volcanoes and go after you.
Hey, everyone else is coming after my people, so what's another one? You forget I am a Jew. Everyone hates my people. So
I don't have any particularly like awesome thoughts on this. I think my kids really my son really likes this movie, so good for Tom Cruise. So
I will say this though, I'm hoping Steven Spielberg just realizes that I shouldn't be doing the Hollywood bullshit. I should get back to what I'm good at, and that's making movies my own way, not the Hollywood way.
Somebody asked in chat what Steven Spielberg's last great movie was. I can answer that. It was Jaws.
Okay. Not E.T.?
No.
E.T. was good, but Jaws was a masterpiece.
No. I mean, I won't argue that, but you will not even gonna give me credit to, was it Jurassic Park, the first one?
Yeah, that's the other one I was about to say, not Jurassic Park.
All right, I'll give Jurassic Park some props, but I still like Jaws better.
Jurassic Park has stood the test of time. I mean, like, people, if you go like look at eBay or like look up like collector content like on YouTube, the amount of Jurassic Park collector stuff, and like some of these toy makers that are making Jurassic Park toys now. Oh my God, it's just incredible what you get for Jurassic Park stuff nowadays. So compared to Jaws. Now you
learned the lesson. I mean, you made Jurassic Park, but then you just evolved into Jurassic World. So
yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, looking back on it, his resume the last 20 years has not been impressive. Steven Spielberg. I mean, I know I liked Ready Player One. I think a lot of people did kind of like that movie. Maybe it wasn't the best, but it was still decent. But outside of that, I probably have to go all the way back to like Catch Me If You Can for the last Spielberg movie. I think that I actually really liked. Yeah,
so I will agree that Last Crusade was good.
Oh yeah, and Saving Private Ryan is good.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan. Okay, I forgot that he did that one. I almost thought that Ron Howard did Saving Private Ryan.
So there's no Munich love, is what I'm getting.
Well,
I just
DK said
I
he
think
enjoyed Munich, so
I just think that Spielberg, with the release of the remake of West Side Story, needs to be put into a nursing home at this point.
Ready Player One had a good message at the end that people should get the fuck off of video games once in a while. So I'll agree with that.
Well,
But other than that,
shots
the movie
fired.
was forgettable.
the thing is, for Ready Player One, I'm not as drowned as in nostalgia as my friend whom I went to see it with. So I didn't really get some of the references. Although I love every time I get to hear Blue Monday, I'm a happy man. So that was the extent of my joy for Ready Player One, since I never played video games and I really didn't follow what was. I mean, I understood what's going on, but I didn't get all the references.
The orgy song?
No, New Order.
no.
Orgy was a remake.
Yeah,
Orgy's
Well,
a remake.
the one that actually came out in the 80s.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
New Order.
The orgy song, get out of here. All right, then let's move over to our closer of tonight. Let's move over to our closer tonight. Now, this is the one that I saved for the hot topic discussion because we were talking about, with Disney, all of these projects are failing, and we talked about with Warner Brothers, they're trying to keep their shaky DCEU intact. Well, apparently, despite all the complaints, despite all the negative reviews and bad press and all the social media reaction, there's apparently going to be a season 2 of Velma on HBO Max. And I don't know how this happened. I can't tell you how, but we've all seen the clips online, especially the ones with the finale where I guess Mindy Kaling just really has something against the character of Fred because they've done nothing but absolutely shit on him the entire shorts of the way. Not even like in a pup named Scooby-Doo way where he was just kind of like the butt of the joke throughout the entire life. Like, they have some real serious hatred of Fred. Like, they even killed his mother and she was like twerking in front of like her dead body. Like, this just absolutely just despises this character.
I'd argue she also hates Velma because she made Velma fat like she is.
I mean, this woman was blood-soaked and twerking over a dead fucking body. How? Mindy Kaling, I think I said her name right. You seriously fucking need help. I mean, if you seriously hate white people that much, not only are you a fucking racist, but if you're freaking saying that you want to twerk, because she did say that this version of Velma is herself, and she's based. And if this woman
straight up self-insert,
she's basically saying, "I want to twerk over a dead white woman's corpse that's all bloodied, and I also want to fucking smear blood all over myself while I do it." She'd probably smear period blood all over herself. No offense to the women, but it's fucking. I know, right? And this is the product of a very twisted and harmed mind. What fucking trauma did this woman go through? Not some made up white people oppressive trauma bullshit, but what actual trauma did Mindy Kaling go through that she has this much hatred in her heart?
It was not just that. I mean, wasn't she twerking in front of Fred's dead mother when Fred was literally there in front of it?
And he was covered in blood. I'm going to say this. I watched it, Velma, through hate reviews. So Warner Bros. Did not get a dime out of me. But there was some, I'm telling you, it was both Norville, aka Shaggy, and Fred that got the worst of it. But ironically, Fred and Norville were actually the best characters.
But I have to think to myself, it's like, does she hate Fred that much, as a character, or is it just because Fred is just her de facto, I can use him as my token white male, and I can take out all my frustration and anger on Fred as if he's just that bad of a character? Like I said,
was she working out some issues with BJ Novak, who was her longtime partner? Is she projecting?
No, this is where it gets weird, is that by the end of the show, she had a love square going on with her, Fred, Daphne, and it was so gross. It's dude, woman, you are nasty. Steve. Why are you
If the
doing
dog was
this?
there, she probably have one with that too. Just putting that out there
Everyone
as well.
thought
Like
that.
this.
Everyone
Oh my
thought that
God,
she was
that's
gonna have
already been
someone's
done
brain
in
put into the
porn
dog, put into a
circles.
dog. Everyone thought that someone's brain was going to be put into a dog, and that was going to be Scooby Doo. That's what everyone thought was going to go down.
We
I'm
need
dead
we need
ass
Scrappy to
serious.
come back. We need
Well,
Scrappy to
Scrappy
sort all
is
this out.
technically in the universe because in one of one of Shaggy's snack streams, Scrappy's screen name in his chat. And yes, he's going to be smoking weed in the second season because his dad, who's a therapist, told him to smoke weed. So he's going to be smoking weed in the second season.
Dovafet put it perfectly in Mindy Kaling's life in a nutshell. She came from a wealthy family, went to an Ivy League school, and landed a hit role in a big time television show in her mid-20s, but she's oppressed because she's brown. That's the takeaway here. But Velma might not have been a critical success, which is fucking an understatement of the year. Who wrote this game rant? Yeah, it's funny watching all of these news articles covering this. They can't just say, yeah, people fucking hated this fucking show. They have to be like, well, the reviews were quite mixed, but it's like, no, like people despise the show, and you guys couldn't even cover it up. But apparently Mindy Kaling's reimagining, which is saying a lot in that statement here, is coming back with another season. Warner Brothers executives alluded to that they're already working on season 2 for the series. Velma, as we all know, is the terrible Mindy Kaling produced and backed show. Keep in mind, they greenlit the show literally months after both creators died. So of course, they waited for the creators to die so that they couldn't they couldn't stop them from creating this absolute abomination of a television show here. But yeah, obviously the sell is that it's an adult cartoon. It's an adult version of Scooby Doo that's degenerate in every way you could possibly think of. According to Deadline, that didn't submit their fate to bad reviews. Channing Dungey, who serves as the chairman and CEO of Warner Brothers Television Group, buried in an article, said that Dungey's team is working on a second season of Velma, the adult animated comedy that comes from Kaling, which is one of the streamer's most watched animated series debuts ever, which isn't saying much because everyone hated it. The social media presence has remained negative. Even former Daffy's voiceover commented on the quality of the show. Yeah, I mean, this has been, everyone who's seen this show thinks it's an absolute abomination of everything that people loved about Scooby-Doo, but apparently they're going to keep it going for another season. So,
by the way, the Hex Girls died for this. We were supposed to get a Hex Girls movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
For this.
Yeah,
I'm pissed, and I know a lot of the Scooby-Doo fans are pissed because the Hex Girls are extremely popular in the fandom.
Yep, it's
so
true.
what? Like Warner Brothers, you're fucking stupid. Why would you do this?
Another great point by JEC here is that, yeah, you make a self-insert character where you put yourself in the role of Velma, then everyone just wants to have sex with you for some weird reason. Like, this whole show is just a complete dreck. And like I said, this is the reason why they waited for the creators to die, because there was no way in hell this would have ever gotten greenlit on their watch. So it just goes to show you how disgusting these people truly are.
This show was so hated, not just by one side, but by both sides. And it was hated to such a degree that Hitler himself would have freaking blanched back in shock.
Yeah. It's one of those things where there's no excuse to be able to try and argue that this isn't a train wreck. Like, they're like, oh, but it's adult. That doesn't give it the right to be absolute garbage dumpster fire. So that argument, I'm sorry, I refuse to accept that. And personally, I didn't watch the show. I watched half of one of the trailers, and by that alone, I was able to simply determine, oh yeah, this is a piece of shit. I don't need to watch any more than this half of the trailer. That it felt like I force-fed myself, and I'm done force-feeding myself trash. I just don't want to engage in it. I know I've spoken to many people that said, yeah, I gave the first 2 episodes a try, to just give it the benefit of the doubt. There's no way to give stuff like this the benefit of the doubt anymore. It's fairly clear where you have, when there's good faith involved and bad faith involved. Anything that they told you from the trailer alone shows that this is a bad faith creation. It is absolutely trash. Stop giving it the benefit of the doubt. The reason why this show is getting a season 2 is because all the people that couldn't determine it was trash from the jump for whatever reason, that they actually gave these creators the benefit of the doubt, and people that just hate watched it. So you can complain,
and there are
be shocked, but this is really what it is. You decided to watch it. You decided to engage in it. If you have to watch this trash, then at least go pirate it. I'm against even pirating garbage because it's like, what's the point in pirating something that's not even worth your time? Why would you even engage in using your bandwidth to do that? I don't even understand that. It's like when people say, I'm going to go pirate this piece of shit game. I'm like, why? There's good games to play. Why would you actually go pirate a piece of shit? Like, I don't understand that concept. But if you must watch, you must engage, go fucking steal it.
Also, they already released a season 2. It's called Proud Family.
Or go watch it via YouTube reviews. I mean, then, go support the community.
Oh yeah,
That's
I love watching people
enjoy the suffering with other people. That's what I did with and just like that, the Sex and the City sequel. I gave it 2 episodes and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. It's not. There's no Kim Cattrall up in there, and she left for a good reason. It was horrible, 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 horrible. They got a season 2, and I'm gonna hate. Everyone in the Sex and the City community is like, we're hate watching this. There's going to be a lot of money to be made from these.
I don't understand the people who. Hold on, real quick. I don't understand the people who, like I said, let's just give it like the benefit of the doubt. Like, if you've been following any of this shit for the last few years, at what point do you just stop giving people like the benefit of the doubt? It's like, I understand if you're just doing professional reviews and you're doing like, okay, maybe this won't be as bad as I think it is. But look, I've gotten to a point where I've given up on shows in like the first 10 minutes. Like I don't even finish like the first episode. Like 10 minutes in, the second I see some nonsense, I'm out. Like I'm not going to give any more of my time. This is garbage. There was a show on Netflix not too long ago called, what was it, Georgia and Jenny, which I believe is one of Netflix's like biggest shows, ironically enough. But I got through maybe like 10-15 minutes of the first episode of the show and I immediately quit, and I haven't gone back and watched it since. It's like, I'm like I said, my let's say patience has significantly declined with a lot of these programming. So yeah, I probably would have saw the first 5 minutes of Velma and immediately gave up right there. So
well, I'm going to say this for anime. It was when I went to industry panels and I learned the truth about like what was going down with some of the manga to anime adaptations behind the scenes. As soon as that happens, like, okay, I'm going to watch maybe like the first, sometimes it'll be like within the first 5 minutes or so. If I record a live reaction and it's taking me like over 10 minutes to record maybe like a live reaction for like the first like couple minutes, then yeah, I know it's bad. And I'll stop. Because especially if it's like absolute torture.
Spencer, I'll even go as far as to say this. I think Velma is even worse than She-Hulk, because here's the difference. She-Hulk used basically just random men as kind of like their placeholder for its villains. So that was what they were shitting on the entire time, like throughout that show. On this show, Velma, they're literally shitting on the characters, the beloved characters themselves, and bastardizing them. And that's what makes the Velma show, in my eyes, even worse than She-Hulk. And then I think Neo had asked the question, what's worse, Velma or Rings of Power? I would still say Velma.
Well, what I don't understand is this show got negative reviews, not just from fans, but from actual critics, even those from the right and the left. The fan base that loves Scooby-Doo did not embrace this show. Mm-hmm. With all that, why is HBO Max doubling down on a show that, by all accounts, people genuinely hate, have no interest in, and are not passionate about? It reminds me a bit, it's not exactly parallel, but it reminds me of when they decided to cast a woman as a doctor on Doctor Who, because it was time we needed a female doctor. I watched her first season. You always have to speak her name with reverence. I watched her first season and I said, this is not good. Even if it were a man, these are not good episodes. So I stopped watching it. And the same with the female Ghostbusters. I saw it with my friend Fidel, and we both said it wouldn't be funny if it were men who were doing it. So why do people keep doubling down? Why do they? Why is HBO Max determined to spend more money and give more control to a product that people don't like? I'm just curious as to what the actual
As
numbers are.
Orange said earlier, it's not about the money; it's about sending a message, and this is what these multinational corporations that are controlling all of this entertainment outlets are doing now. It's all about the message. They got the billions of dollars, and we've seen they're willing to burn billions of dollars if it means they're going to keep producing crap like this.
They must, because the message is not even getting through with some of the people who it's targeted. There are people on on all sides of the socio-political spectrum who hate this show.
Yeah.
There are professional critics who are both left and right who hate the show. It's become almost petty and vindictive the way that the HBO Max people and Mindy Kaling and all those people involved are targeting the fans and are targeting their audience. It's amazing to me that people who have such contempt for their audience just seem determined to just grind them and just completely pulverize them for no reason other than to, I guess, get revenge or show themselves to be better than they are. It's an illogical thing to me. And again, I say this as someone who's not attached to the Scooby-Doo franchise. You know me, it's Mama Cass or nothing. So it's just puzzling to me why Mindy Kaling and HBO Max just hate they hate their audience,
Well, it's
and
like,
people still keep getting them more money to do this.
well, it's like I could even accept if like you thoughtfully shit on your audience, but this is like the equivalent of a fucking 3-year-old throwing a tantrum because you, the parent, told them that you can't take this other child's toy, and then you just see the 3-year-old just start whining and crying on the floor and biting things and throwing things. That's literally the equivalent of, like, to me, when I look at the quality of this show. And I mean, it's worth noting that they canceled, Warner Brothers themselves canceled the Batgirl movie because they said it was detrimental to their brand. My question is, why do you think that somehow Velma was different? This show is very detrimental to the Scooby-Doo franchise.
It's not only detrimental to the Scooby-Doo franchise, it's detrimental to society as a whole.
Well, not only that, they
It's like
canceled
it's more
like
of a symptom.
Scooby-Doo, like actual Scooby-Doo content. There was the Scoop sequel, a Christmas special, and the Hex Girls movie.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know about the Christmas one, or the Scoop sequel, but the Hex Girls one is what people wanted.
Yeah. Well, that we don't want to attract the male gaze nerdigans. Those women were far too attractive to have their
The Hex
own
Girls one was done.
movie.
From what I saw, the director said it was basically done and ready to go. And I think this Christmas one, and I think the sequel was done too, if I remember correctly. It was basically done. I just don't understand what they're doing over there. This just makes no fucking sense.
I mean, I like David Zaslav
and
more.
they don't realize they're doing it.
I like David Zaslav more when he was just firing everyone and canceling all of these projects, but now they're trying to like establish like a new brand and a new era, and they seemingly just threw away one brand of trash for another brand of trash. Because it's like I know there's some people out there that for whatever reason have more faith in James Gunn than I can and will ever have. That they're like, no, just wait and see what he does with these like none of these projects that he's announcing sound good to me like at all. And then the ones that he is working on, it's like, oh great, a James Gunn Superman movie. That's definitely one I'm gonna hold my breath in anticipation for. It's like, no, it's like I don't know what they're doing at Warner Brothers now. They just fire everybody.
I'm surprised that you're not excited for the Waller TV show starring Viola Davis, who was shamefully robbed for Best Actress.
You know
But
what?
this is
How about this? Fire everybody, and then the only new shows you guys should be producing are like home renovation shows, and that's it. Like just do another season of Flip and Flop, and no more animation, no more movies. Like no, that's all you're allowed to create now, because that's the only thing
Make sure to-
you possibly
You can
can't
o-
fuck up at this point.
you can only stretch Chip and Joanna Gaines only so far.
That and
I
4K
will.
transfers of all of their classics that are done reasonably well.
But I mean, for
Yeah.
me, this is a massive case of cutting your nose to spite your face. These people just well, it's their money. No, we don't have to watch. I've never watched an episode of Velma, and if people want to watch, if people want to give this show attention, that's their business. But nobody's requiring you to watch, and let them. It's their money. People can't. You can cancel the subscription to HBO Max. You can go back to Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. You can go back to when he meets the Harlem Globetrotters. You can go. I mean, I think it was on Tubi, or I think it was on Tubi where I ran into the old Scooby Doo episodes, like Scooby Doo, Where Are You? I was like, maybe I should check those out and watch
The old
those rather than
1960s
watch
ones.
Velma. I just again, what? Just go back. Just go back to the old ones if you want.
I had
Back
I
when
received
Velma wasn't a lesbian and there was no political agenda, just kids solving mysteries, and with the pup named Scooby Doo, there was Red Herring. I still wonder if Red Herring was on the writing staff. But Red Herring's too smart for this.
I would love to
received-
see Red Herring pop up.
I received an email from HBO Max when they were, because I still get email newsletters and whatnot from the streaming services I do, and they sent me one that's like, we noticed you haven't watched Velma yet, and I'm like, because these are no reply emails. So I contacted them again, and I'm like, don't ever send me another fucking email asking me to watch Velma again. I do not appreciate that show being or its content. I will not watch it. If you contact me again asking, I will cancel your fucking service.
Well, Mindy Kaling deleted all her Velma tweets, if that counts for something.
By the way, I have not gotten another email from HBO Max since.
I tell you what though, one thing I was thinking about is like, is it technically a death threat or a threat of violence if you say that if you send me another email, I'm gonna go to your house and give you a stone cold stunner, or maybe put you in the camel clutch? Like, is there any legal against that? Yeah, there's like, imagine like explaining to the cops.
A threat of assault, but
yeah, it's like, yeah, this guy on the internet said he's going to give me the people's elbow. So can you guys do something about that? It's like, do we have to take this complaint seriously?
Well, here's the thing. If they go to my house, or say I would actually say, I'm going to go over to your house and I'm going to give you the people's elbow. Now, if the cops show up at my house, I'm going to have a cake made with an elbow on top, like a fashioned elbow, and it's going to say in wording, the people's elbow. And they're like, yeah, you had a threat that it's like, oh, you mean that cake that I made back there? Let me show you.
No, I would actually just have like the elbow pad that The Rock had and just wear it out. It's like, yeah,
there you go.
Give him the people's elbow. What are you complaining about? Here's a good question for you guys. How do you guys feel about the counter arguments that the old shows have political elements to them, like the Twilight Zone? This is obviously something that was brought up during the Proud Family when people were trying to say, oh, well, the old Proud Family show was woke too, and someone had even like witnessed, like, no, I checked all the episodes. There were like 4 episodes out of the 65 that dealt with any kind of political elements, and none of them was anywhere near as terrible as what they did with this last season of the Proud Family. So they always try to make it seem like, oh, what are you guys complaining? This stuff has always been in TV shows and movies and comic books. Like, no, it fucking hasn't. Like, stop trying to gaslight people.
Here's the thing, though.
I don't think a lot of people realize either that there's a big difference between being woke and being liberal. Like, and like, I'll say, like, when you're writing fiction, you're allowed to have more freedom, like artistic license to like do stuff. So But I mean, like, you can't just rely on the message at the end of the day to like, you know, you can't just rely on that as like your fallback. I mean, that's not writing.
Well, here's the thing. I recently watched the original CSI, and I've noticed that there were political messaging and whatnot in there, and even identity politics and whatnot. But it's done in such a way that it is not bashing you over the head with it. It's not done in such a way where they're saying, you need to do this, you need to believe this, or you need to, or you're evil because you are this or that. It is done, or all, yeah, I can agree that there are every show from the fucking since time immemorial that shows do have some sort of agenda in one way or another aside from entertainment, but it is so subtle that people still find entertainment because they're still pushing entertainment over the agenda. That's
Well, let me
why
give you
people are liking it.
Well, let me give you an example of a good modern one. Did you watch South Park this past week with Cupid Yee and making
No.
fun of Kanye?
I have not.
Oh God, it was so good. So if you guys remember Cartman's Cupid Me, he ended up being Kanye when Kanye went on his recent anti-Semitic tirade and his tinfoil hattedness, and he became Cupid Yee, and he was trying to get Kyle and Token to split up because they were starting to make TikToks, really cringy TikToks, and Stan's starting to feel depressed because that Kyle's not hanging out with him anymore. So Cartman's trying to help him out and get Kyle and Token broken up. And what does he do? He tries to spread anti-Semitism messages to Token using Cupid Yee. And it's Cupid Yee telling Cartman to be a good Christian to do it that way.
I think it's
wow. And yeah, you see like the remember the when Kanye went on InfoWars and he wore that hoodie and that weird ass outfit. Yeah, that's in the episode too.
So they could try to claim that all the stuff that was said was like the AI deep fake that he didn't actually say.
And of course, the kids think because Cartman was saying the Jews run Hollywood.
Real quick.
I want to say this, that Cartman had, they said Kyle ran Hollywood. You had this whole bit where, the kids were having, their movie proposals to Kyle. And this whole thing was great. You need to watch the episode. But at the end of the episode, though, Kyle was really smart because what they had Kyle do was he explained the history of Hollywood and, this stuff that led to the conspiracy. And of course, typical with a lot of the anti-Semitic stuff, the church was behind it because they don't like that the Jews were doing the shit that the church found immoral. I'm sorry.
Killing Jesus? No.
But
I can.
But at the end, though, it was great because all the Hollywood executives were like, Kyle should run Hollywood. And Kyle's like, damn it, that was the whole point, was to avoid that. And then in the credits, they said it was that Matt Stone did, the Jew.
Well, I mean, I was just
showrunners did everything, and it was just fucking hilarious. You go watch South Park. The season premiere of South Park. That's how you do a political episode and have it be funny and not have it hit you over the head. And it's just so.
Well, to be fair, Parker and Matt, they've been doing that for like years. Like, they've been doing that for like decades. So I mean, if there's anyone who would know how to do funny political satire, it's them. But Mindy Kaling is not nowhere on that level in any way, shape, or form. But I'll go ahead and get the final thoughts on this one before we wrap this one up.
Well, Jacob, even in the early episodes,
real quick,
did it right too.
Yeah.
Real quick, I would just say that some of the Twilight Zone episodes were very heavy-handed, and those are the clunkers. So Rod Serling certainly used his writing skills to push an agenda, but on them it was subtle where you didn't really notice. But on some of them, they were like, even I could say, "Oh, come on, that's just a little too over the top for it to be good." That's pretty much it. Hope I hope I got through. I'm just having a little technical issues here.
That's fine. Real quick, just generally speaking, in regards to stuff like the Proud Family, like Velma, these things teach you to hate a particular group of individuals, based upon gender or skin color. Whereas the Twilight Zone doesn't deliberately go out of its way to teach you to hate a particular group of individuals. It seeks to, give some form of message. Generally speaking, it doesn't typically go out of its way to beat up like these crazy concepts over your head. It doesn't go out of its way to beat you to hate someone else over its head. It's really that, I think, is the biggest takeaway that I get from modern entertainment versus something like the Twilight Zone or other things of the past that do have political thoughts and concepts in it.
Well, and like the goal of
Well, there wasn't one Twilight. Oh,
it's okay.
no, go ahead.
Okay, so like the point of like writing a good story though is to get people to think about things. Like you're not supposed to force feed them an answer that you already have like prepared. You can lead them to it, but they still have to take that last step on their own if you really want it to count. And I think a lot of writers today think that we're like the audiences today are just too stupid and to like get to the the conclusion that they want. And that's kind of why we see all this dumb stuff. Yep. And it's just that's the only thing I can think of. And and some level too, like part of me does want to say I kind of understand this because like when I use some things in my work, I have to like put notes in the beginning that says like my characters might say this stuff, but I don't actually like believe this stuff necessarily, you know. And it is one of those things where it's like I wish more people would be smart enough to realize, hey, just because I wrote it to make you think about something doesn't mean that I want you to think about this thing, or view it in this particular way. When I was a teacher, I once told my kids to like they could like do this research assignment and they could pick any topic they want, and their goal was to try to think of a solution to like some problem in society. But I did like say like make sure it's something that's logical and something that's doable and testable and all those good numbers, because like we don't want to end up in a place where you're trying to solve climate change by killing a bunch of people. And then like it was actually
well,
like
you can argue that's kind of the whole point of climate change. That's the goal. Like the carbon they want to get rid of is you. So
and that's what like when the New York Times actually started out with that like headline, I was like, oh, look at that. Somebody missed your class.
Mm-hmm.
They were absent that day.
You need great skill to try to push some kind of message in work. I was reminded of a great Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode, Bang Bang You're Dead, where it was about gun control. But he put it, Hitchcock directed this episode, he put it in the guise of suspense, where a kid was literally walking around with a loaded gun, only he was not aware of it. So that was the message, but he made it well, he placed it well enough to go through, send that particular message, but without beating you over the head. Velma doesn't seem to understand that. It wants to beat this idea into your head. So you just need to have the right skill and the right writers behind things if you want to make something, but we're getting that right now.
And then that's why you have to take the creators of this show and smash their head straight into the ground with the tombstone pile driver. It's the only way to stop people from making shows like this.
Well, I would say too, like, there is a lot of the old guard that's passing away, and this is just kind of the remnants until there's a new one that rises up,
Yeah.
And that's why I have all my rights to my work.
Hey, Neo, there might already be a show like this that exists, by the way.
Oh, well, not one where I host, I don't think. But I will say I have a writing book, and it's called Good Writing is Like Good Sex. So I'll start with that one. So, yes. That's the title of it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Hollywood, they've shown everyone that their model right now is failing upwards, and the fact that this show is getting a second season is just more proof that failing upwards is the way to go when it comes to modern entertainment. But until we break up some of these mega corporations, I don't know how that's going to change anytime soon, because they don't look like they're going to change willingly at this point. But we've reached the end of the show here. I'm glad that we were able to keep the show under 3 hours this week, so that's a good pace for us when we can start that in today. I'm gonna go ahead and give everyone a chance to promote everything that you guys got coming up, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with Orange Chat here. What do you have coming up here on the show that you want to promote?
Well, I'm still doing the romance mystery reviews. I just recently did one for Warm Bodies earlier today. I'm going to be covering a lot more of the Alec Baldwin's situation stuff with the shooting and the trial and any other news that is involved with, because it's now starting to increase in volume again. My mystery reviews are now Tuesdays at 2:30 in the afternoon instead of 10:30 in the morning, so people can tune in or more, because I heard that people aren't morning people anymore. Also, I am going to be on my friend Roger Athe's channel at 6 p.m. on his channel for a interview that he does. That's going to be Friday. So other than that, my next mystery reviews hints are time travel and romance. So if you know it, you know it. But yeah, other than that, I'm also doing mystery or guest choice reviews, where if a person wants to come on, they can choose the movie, the time, and the date. And I choose the venue, which is my channel. And yeah, it's all meant for their convenience. So it's a great way to boost the smaller channels or talk with even bigger channels. So yeah, that's me. Also, I just recently got a Rumble. So yeah.
There we go. Nerdigans, what's going on in your life? Give us the condensed version. There's too much going on in your life. Just give us like the short.
So on my channel, Nerdigans Inc., we cover, of course, manga and anime, and we added a new Saint Seiya spinoff. We are going, and also a couple more shoujo, and JoJo Lands. The first chapter is coming out this week, so that's really exciting. I can't wait. Meanwhile, on Bounding's front, we have an anime list coming out. We're trying to figure out, me and Spencer are trying to figure out how we're going to be handling the new Harvey Weinstein situation, aka the Elliot Gindi scandal, and roasting another woke localizer who decided that they want to be a storyteller instead of a translator and use GigaChat in the subtitles for Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagataro, and for some reason still doesn't understand why the community is pissed and wants to blame it on nostalgia for some reason. So, and I'll be here next Tuesday, and if there's anything for tomorrow, I'll be here too. So stay tuned.
All right, Johnson, this is your time to shine. You got something coming up?
Always, but I put a link to my writing book for you, Neozic. So, and I actually have I was late today because I was recording a podcast for my Radiant Writers podcast, where I interview people about books that they've written usually. But if you have a book that you want me to read and talk with me, I kind of copied Orange Hat's format. So I'll read a book and you'll read a book and we'll talk about it. And yeah, we'll just talk about it. So there's the link. I'll put the link in the chat for the playlist if you want to catch it. There's a form there. You can sign up and email me, and I'll respond at some point.
All right then, Rick, this is your time. What do you got coming up, buddy?
Oh, well, I've got the reviews for the last three Best Picture nominees that I have yet to review: All Quiet on the Western Front, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Women Talking. I've also got upcoming reviews on Magic Mike's Last Dance, and also a baseball themed review later on once baseball season starts up again. Just getting ready to watch more films, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And maybe still thinking 80% District 7. Vote Rick. Maybe.
Yeah, Rick talking about running for office. So I keep telling him, well, you probably should stop appearing on this show if that's your hope and dream. So best of luck to you.
Oh my gosh.
I feel
All
for the
right,
person
then.
that
And
would
then
have to
last,
watch all of that.
So I
yeah.
have the two.
No, go ahead.
All right. So
No, I was trying to do your
this
intro
week-
for you, but you know, you just kept talking. So I mean, that's cool. Whatever.
But this week we got the Two Rule for Feels podcast, where me and my good buddies we talk about the world of entertainment, and so that's a thing. This Sunday we're gonna be doing a watch along for the original Ghostbusters, a film that I've never seen, so that's going to be fun. It was picked out by one of my channel members, so we're gonna watch that together. And I will be tomorrow on my good buddy Zach Hall's YouTube for a live stream to discuss Hogwarts Legacy and what we think of it so far, and just the controversy surrounding it. So if you want to tune into that, I will be linking that the live stream on my Twitter so that you guys can come through if you want to interact in that conversation. So that's going to be fun. And if you want to just keep up with what I got going on, just visit my YouTube, Cult Classic Cage. Or if you want to talk to me personally, just to see what I got going on, you can always hit me up on Twitter, Cult Classic Cage.
All right, then.
You will
and
love
bringing it back here,
Ghostbusters.
let you guys.
I'm hype.
Rick, I can see Rick waving his little finger right now as he's saying that. By the way, too, so I'm pretty sure add that to the list of movies that he hasn't seen. But
No,
I
I've
am
seen
working
that.
on
I
now that
actually
football
saw it
season.
when it came out. I mean, I saw it when it
Oh,
was
yeah.
released in theaters. Sorry.
Yeah, were we 20 when the movie came out? So the first thing that I wanted to mention is that we are looking at bringing back our weekly movie nights, and we're looking at bringing back Retro Wave. So there'll definitely be some reshuffling here in the next few weeks. I haven't ironed out all the details just yet. I'm hoping to get some answers here in the next few weeks, but I do want to bring back our movie night stream on Twitch. So subscribe over to Twitch for that one. I'm also putting our Rumble back on the chat. All we need, I think, right now is like 3 more subs, and then we can possibly start streaming over at Rumble too, which would be a huge help if you guys can go over there. Next Monday, hopefully Rob's feeling a lot better. Obviously, he was sick this week, couldn't join us. But next week, if everything goes well, we'll be reviewing Ant-Man 3, and then we'll get him back on the saddle here. We can talk about the Nice Guys movie, which we didn't get a chance to talk about yesterday. And then episode 37 of the Borrowing Podcast is next Tuesday night. Tomorrow night, myself, Spencer, Josh, and John are going to be talking about the biggest stories in entertainment and the Black Pill stream for Bounding into Comics YouTube. They've been killing it with the shorts lately. I know John's been doing a lot more live streams on the channel as well. And then pretty sure we'll definitely be talking about Steve Blum, that freaking moron, and everything else that's been going on over there. That's pretty much all I can think of right now. Like I said, we're trying to restructure a little bit to get some of our shows back on a consistent basis, but it's a little hard to do that right now. So those changes probably won't come until about March, when I have a good idea of what the schedule is going to be. So give us a little bit of time. We'll get that taken care of. And matter of fact, quick little shout out to our guy who usually shows up around this time. Maybe it's a little early for him on his side of the world, but Mephisto Reviews, I'm going to be doing his show on Saturday night, Saturday afternoon. Actually, we're going to be talking about the film Rear Window, because they're doing Hitchcock movies. So that should be a fun one. We'll be doing on Saturday night. So go check us out over there. That's all I got coming up. Thank you for everyone who joined us here tonight in the chat. I see Duke, Zero Dozer, who joined us, Drax the Clown, who was here with us earlier tonight, Doba Fett, who's always here, Neo, who's always here, Alex vs. Evil's always here, JEC joined us tonight, obviously Spencer, who's in the chat, DK, Let's make sure I get everyone else. I didn't miss anyone else we can give a quick shout out to. I think I pretty much got everyone here. And yeah, to everyone who joined us, everyone who stopped by, thanks for joining us for another episode of this podcast. We're going to go ahead and sign off here. We will see you guys on this one Monday night and see you guys next week on the show. Hopefully we have more topics to talk about. Maybe some people say some more stupid things, but we're going to go ahead and hit the spring yard and get out of here. So wave to the crowd. That means the cat too. Wave to the crowd so we can all get out of here. Goodbye. Good night.
Bye.
Adios.